What's good, everybody? Chris here again. Chris Goes Outdoors. We're outside today after a long hiatus. Bringing you a video I meant to bring about 3 weeks ago when I recorded it initially. Colorado Trail expense video, specifically how much I spent out there, but that video is 41 minutes and it was essentially me literally going through a spreadsheet explaining every penny that I spent on the Colorado Trail. So riveting to the point that I didn't even want to continue editing it because I was falling asleep. So I'm going to try to save you all a ton of time. And I'm just going to put up the spreadsheet right here on the screen right now so you can see exactly what I spent while out on the Colorado Trail. So there it is in its full, wonderful Google Sheets glory, all color-coded for your viewing pleasure. So I'm just going to go over everything kind of quickly, or as quickly as possible, and as well throw in some tips as to how you could save money on the trail. So we'll see if we can beat 41 minutes. No promises. So the first and highest expense on the Colorado Trail for me was transportation and lodging, and that came into a total of $1,120.45. This included my flight to Denver from Boston, which came in around $200, and my flight home, which I took from Durango to Boston. Well, Durango to Denver to Boston. Durango is a very small airport, and it was about $200 something more expensive to fly straight from Durango to Denver to Boston. But for me, it made sense cost-wise because the cost of a rental car, food, and then lodging when I would have gotten to Denver actually would have been more expensive than just flying straight out of Durango. So it just made sense. And in the time frame I had, like, I needed to get home because I'm pretty sure I worked like 2 days after I got done with the trail. Another way you could kind of keep the transportation and lodging down, I flew into Denver. I could have just went straight out onto the trail, but I wanted to kind of get acclimated a little bit while I was out there. So I chose to stay in a hostel that night. That could have saved me easily like $100 between food and the actual stay there. So keep in mind, you know, if you can get onto the trail the day you get out there, maybe try that. Also, try to limit Uber and like taxi rides and stuff like that. If you can, try to hitchhike and take public transportation where able. I know on some trails that's not the case all the time. You can't really do that all the time. But in my case, in Breckenridge, I took 2 Ubers that cost probably close to $60 total that I 100% could have skipped and just taken a bus. But due to time, I didn't feel like it. So transportation and stuff. Also, if you can, try to look for cheaper flights. Some people are probably better at that than me. Know some websites you can do that. Link them down below if you know them, but I think I found a decent deal anyway to fly out to Denver. But coming back, that was a lot of money. $427 to fly back. Ooh, a lot of money, but it is what it is. So the second largest cost for me on the Colorado Trail was surprisingly my gear. I ended up spending $565.43 on gear while out on the trail, and this is easily avoidable. I have stressed in previous videos that you should really test out your gear as much as you can before the trail, and I really believe that. Like, give things a very good run. Try to go out on a week trip before a long trail like this and just test things and how they work for you. I had mentioned my quilt had pretty much, I don't want to say completely failed me, but left me pretty cold out on the trail, so I ended up replacing that at a very large cost to me, involving getting the quilt and paying for overnight shipping. And I also had some issues where I tried to be cheap and take like really worn in socks and underwear, and that did terrible things to me blister-wise and chafe-wise actually. So I ended up paying for it immensely, literally and figuratively. So really try out your gear, clothing, all that before you head out to the trail, and it can really save you money in the long run. Might be better to invest up front than it is while you're out there. So my next 2 costs involve food costs, and I split these into 2, town food total and my resupply total. I in no way, shape, or form tried to limit myself in this regard. I love to eat. And if I'm hiking for days on end and I get to town and I can eat anything I want, essentially, I'm pretty much going to do that. And I did that. So town food costs, I spent $435.29, and I essentially balled out on the Colorado Trail. I went hard. When I was in town, I ate whatever I wanted to eat while out on the Appalachian Trail. I didn't really drink either, and when I was out in Colorado, it's like every town there has a brewery of some sort, so I sampled some fine beverages, sampled many meals. Most of the places I went to, a lot of times I would get 2 meals, occasionally I would get 3 meals, and I would eat them and or pack them out to the trail. So town food for me is one of those costs that there are ways to limit it for sure. You could always go to a resupply store, like a grocery store or something, and then just get like frozen pizzas or frozen meals, or just make your own meals. I made pasta, for instance, at one of the hostels that had a full kitchen. That's an option, and it could save you a ton of money, but I don't know. I was out there only for a month. I had the money, so to me, I wanted to experience it. Wanted to experience Colorado, and I'm not particularly sad about the amount of money that I spent out there on town food. It is what it is, man. You gotta eat, you gotta keep the calories up, so. And then resupply total, I spent $361 in total out on the trail for resupply. And I believe that these were all done at grocery stores. I don't think I did any mail drops besides the first initial mail drop while I was out there. You could maybe save some money if you mail stuff to you, but I feel like it kind of evens out. I don't really have much advice to offer as far as resupply. Get what works for you, and get enough of what works for you, enough that you are eating and not hungry and dying from hunger out on the trail. And then besides that, I spent $45 total on postage. So that was the initial resupply that I sent down to the trail, as well as shipping my quilt that I didn't want to use anymore back home because I wasn't just gonna like throw the thing away. So only spent $45 on postage, which I don't think is too terrible anyway, but it is what it is. Then I spent $8 on laundry. So the grand total for everything included, was $2,560.17. The total cost without airfare, I spent $1,933.17. The total cost without airfare and just the quilt replacement was $1,558.17. And the total cost without airfare and none of the gear replacements, the other stuff that I bought at REI while on the trail, was $1,378.17. So, could I have done it for cheaper? Absolutely. I could have not eaten as much town food. But again, not an option for me. I really like eating town food out there. So, and there's other ways I probably could have cut down, but $1,378, relatively close to the $1,000 mark that most people tell you. And as I said, I feel like I kind of lived at large out on the Colorado Trail. I was getting 2 to 3 meals sometimes at most of the towns that I stopped in, so definitely could have taken it easier while I was out there, but it was only a month for me, and I really wanted to live it up while I was out there and enjoy the trail and the town, so that's what I did. So that's essentially the entirety of my expenses. Hope the video was helpful. If it was, drop it a like. If you loved it, consider commenting and subscribing. Share if you care, that's cool too. You can follow me on Instagram, but I wouldn't really bother. I haven't posted there in a couple months, I think. So we'll see you in the next one. Take care.